Hello there, my name is Qcode, and welcome back to part 3 of my Löve Tutorialy thingy. This part is if statements and local variables. Let's just open up our file that we've been testing in. I assume you're going to do the same. Completely blank, might have something in it from last time, if you hadn't. Anyway, first thing we're going to do is just create a local variable. Not local variable, just make a variable. X equals 5. Good, we'll print X. We're just going to print X. Now, to create an if statement in Lua is very simple. First thing you want to do is write the word if. That starts the if statement. Then you want to write your condition. So the first type of condition we're going to use is just a simple comparison. So we're going to check if x equals 5, and then we're going to print x equals 5. So x, comparison in Lua you use equals twice. Equals 5. You write the word then. It'll automatically indent. You write print x equals 5. Then after that you have to enter, backspace, and then end. For some people, if you write end, it will automatically go back. So there you go, that's how an if statement works in Lua. Build this, close it down, 5, and then we say x equals 5. We can change this to 1. It won't print x equals 5. You can change it to a string. You can change the string to anything you want. I just changed it to true for some reason. You can change it into a boolean. You can remove x completely if you want. As you can see, x will be nil, since nil does not equal 5. Stuff like that. And next thing on my list, what is on my list? Yep, if then end equals. The next thing I'm going to do is just if statements with booleans, which can be formatted a bit different and it's a bit easier. So we'll say x equals true. Good, we can print, we're not going to print x because that would create an error. When you're using a boolean, you can use this very simple trick. You don't need to do comparison. This will work. If x equals true, this will work. For shorthand, you can delete this part and just say if x. And then we'll say x equals true. X equals true. Now, one important thing to note is that the only time this statement won't be succeeded is if x is false or nil. So if we do x doesn't exist, it won't say anything. If we say x equals false, it won't say anything. But if we say x equals, I don't know, 10, so this statement right here will succeed if x equals anything but false or nil, so a number, a string, a table, or just true, a boolean. Another thing to note, if you need shorthand for something that doesn't exist, so if it's nil or false, you can use the word not. So if not x, then print x equals false or nil. So right now x will equal nil. We can say x equals false. X equals false or nil. But if x equals true, it won't say anything. If x equals hello world, it won't say anything. If x equals 5, it won't say anything. And if x equals a table, it won't say anything. Another type of numerical comparison you can do with if statements is inequalities. So let's say x equals 3. If x, I don't need parentheses there, I don't know why I did that. If x is less than 3, if x is less than 3, then we print x is less than 3. End. You can see it didn't print anything. X equals 2. Now it does print anything. Same thing with greater than. Nothing prints. We change it to 4. Things do print. Good. You might be wondering how you use greater than or equals to. If you do greater than, equal, if x greater than equal 3, that means if x is greater than or equal to 3, then we can do that. So you can see it prints with 4, it prints with 3, but it doesn't print with 2. Same thing with less than, and so on and so forth. It looks like an arrow. Proof. One other convenient operator for if statements is the does not equal to. We'll say x equals 3. If x, and then you do squiggly, equals 3, then print x, not 3. End. You can see, doesn't print anything. You can change it to 1, it will print anything. You can delete x, x will be nil, nil does not equal 3, x can be true, any sort of thing. That will satisfy itself for anything in which x does not equal 3. Two other important keywords to note are and or. So for and, it makes sure that all the cases in the if statements are true. So if we do x equals true, y equals false, if x and y, then it doesn't happen because y is false. Of course we can do the same thing here, false, true. We'll change the statement so it matches. If x and y are true, won't say anything, we can change it to false and false. And then it'll only succeed if it's true and true, or for example if it's, I don't know, 5 and 5, anything that isn't false. If either of these is false or nil, then it won't happen, but if both of them are not false or nil, then it will happen. Very simple. The other thing I was talking about is or, so if we can do x or y, then you can change one of the statements. It's exactly as you would think. You can change one of the statements and it will work. One of x and y is true. Not proper grammar, but who cares? Change y to true, change x to false, still works. We change both of them to false, it no longer works. All of these keywords can be combined, so we can do if not x or y. So that way, if y is true, or x is false, then it will trigger. That doesn't trigger because x is true and y is false, so neither of the statements fit. And this statement can go on and on. All you have to do is extend it using and then more keywords. You can do and z and f and t. Then all you'd have to do to fulfill the statement is just add variables for all those different things. Good? Good. Now I'm going to show you what a local variable is. A local variable only exists inside a certain scope. So for example, we'll make an if statement here. If true, then. That will always be true. This is just for example purposes. Then we'll say local x equals 5. Good? To create a local variable, you just say local, and then you do your regular variable declaration. So if we print x, inside of the statement, you'll see x will equal 5. If you print x outside of the statement, you'll see it's 5, and then it's nil, because it goes outside of the boundaries here to here. It's like indentation. All things indented 1 tab or more will understand that the x will equal 5, and then all statements that are not indented will not understand x. This also works if you want to have, for example, two variables of the same name which mean different things, which is usually a bit of a faux pas in programming. You shouldn't be doing it often, but if you feel extremely lazy, note, you should not get into this, this is a bad habit. If you feel extremely lazy, you can use a local variable with the same name as a global variable. So if we say x equals 7 here, it'll say local x equals 5, print x. Instead of printing nil here, it will print 7 because x is overridden for this very short time inside of the statement, but then it goes back to what it originally was. As you can see, 5, 7, or if we print x here, you'll see it goes 7, gets overridden for the short time, 5, and then 7. Using local variables in your code is a good habit to get into. Using local variables makes your code cleaner, it makes the program run faster, and it's just generally a good thing to do. One little use I always use them for, I create a local variable that says local test equals false, and then instead of having a really long line of just and statements, if, I don't know, x equals 5 or x equals 7, or x equals 9, or x equals 52. Let's say I want all of, or x equals 60, or x equals 30, or x equals 15. I don't know why you would want all these different things, but instead of having a really long statement like that, what I'll do is I'll have if x equals 5, then test equals true. And if x equals 7, then test equals true. And so on and so forth. And that just breaks up the code a little and it makes it a little easier to read instead of having long scrolling lines. So this is the conclusion of the episode. I hope everyone enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you all next time when I go over loops in Lua. Thanks once again.